right, hello. If you're in, you've officially made it to the right place. I'll give just a few seconds to make sure that everyone has logged on correctly. Welcome, you've officially made it to the presentation for Vanderbilt. We'll just give another few seconds here, see if we can make sure everyone's logged on and can hear us. And then we'll go ahead and get started. All right. Okay. All right, so welcome everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the virtual college exploration for all Ohio students, sponsored by the Ohio Association for College Admissions Counseling and StriveScan. I'm Hannah, I'm your facilitator for the day, and I just have a few housekeeping items for you before we get started and before you hear from Vanderbilt. So the first one is that you can ask questions during this event. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your answers to the presenters at any time. They may type back to you with an answer, or they may wait till the end and answer your question at the end. So just be patient with them. I promise they're seeing your question. The next piece of housekeeping announcements is that your camera and your video and your microphone are all off. So the panelists cannot see you or hear you, but you should be able to see myself and the panelists. And then this is just one of the many sessions that OACAC is doing for all of you Ohio high school students to explore colleges. So please go check out the full schedule at oacac.org. We'd love to have you attend some other events as well. And then my final piece of housekeeping is that this presentation is being recorded and it will be available for you in about a week at that same website, oacac.org. So if you miss anything, you can always go back and watch the recording. And that's all I have for you. So I'm now going to turn it over to our presenters from Vanderbilt. Thanks, y'all.
Good morning, everyone. While I get the screen share set up, I just wanted to say good morning. My name is Laura McCann, and I am one of the admissions officers for Vanderbilt. I cover Central and Southern Ohio, so kind of Columbus South. And then we have another colleague, Maria Ornelas, and she covers Northern Ohio. So we split the state up that way, but we're your two go-to gals. So if you ever have questions about Vanderbilt, we're your biggest resource. But before we get started today, we do want to comment on the current times that we are all living in. Vanderbilt and Vanderbilt admissions stand firmly against police brutality, and we support the fight for justice and equity for all Black Americans. Black Lives Matter. We also hope that each of you are staying safe and healthy given the current coronavirus pandemic. As you'll learn in this presentation, context-based holistic evaluation has always been a hallmark of our process at Vanderbilt. And we know that this year that may be more important than ever before. But don't worry, we do have a whole slide where we will talk about the things we evaluate and how those might look a little bit different this year. But a little bit about Vanderbilt. We have about 7,000 undergraduate students, about 6,000 grad students on our campus. You'll find 10 colleges and schools. 6 of those are graduate schools and 4 of those are undergraduate, which you will be applying into. Now, of those 4 undergraduate schools, we do have 70 major fields of study. Now, especially exciting this year is that we have 2 brand new majors. So you will find jazz studies in the Blair School of Music, as well as architecture in the built environment in the College of Arts and Science. So it's always exciting to have new majors. We are always growing at Vanderbilt. Now, our students are very involved at Vanderbilt. The typical student is involved in about 2 to 3 different clubs or organizations. So we do have over 420 ways for you to get involved right on our campus. We always include that plus sign because that's ever evolving. So if you ever get here and you realize that we're missing something, you can absolutely bring that and add it to our repertoire. Now, Vanderbilt students identify a lot of different ways. We want our campus community to represent the world in which we all live. So you'll find that they identify several ways. 44% of our students do identify as students of color. So you will find diversity of race and ethnicity. Also diversity of political thought. About a third of our students identify liberal, 1/3 conservative, and 1/3 moderate. Diversity of religious affiliation. We have multiple faith-based organizations on our campus. Geographically diverse. We hail from 49 states and 62 different countries. about 665 international students on our campus. We're also socioeconomically diverse. We'll talk more about that later in the presentation when we talk about funding your education at Vanderbilt. Now, the most fun statistic, of course, is that 3-to-1 squirrel to student ratio. It's really just our fun way of saying that we are a national arboretum. So we do sit in an urban setting. We're in the city center of Nashville, but you don't feel that way while on campus. It is over 330 acres of green space. There are over 300 trees on campus, and it's very contained. So you're never having to cross major intersections or streets to get from one building to another. However, just steps off campus, you have everything you need right there at your fingertips. So it is a really ideal location. Now, when applying to Vanderbilt, you will apply into a school of choice. So you'll choose one of these 4 schools here. College of Arts and Science is our largest and oldest school. It houses about 4,000 students, and about 1,000 freshmen will come in this way. Now you're probably thinking, well, obviously anyone interested in arts and science will be in the College of Arts and Science, sure, but also things like economics, medicine, health and society, or if you are undecided, you will also be applying into the College of Arts and Science. Now it is also home to our AXL curriculum, which stands for Achieving Excellence in Liberal Education. 1/3 of your classes are going to be that liberal arts core, while 1/3 are major specific or are elective. Now, one of my favorite parts about the College of Arts and Science is that you have room for exploration. You do not have to declare your major here until second semester sophomore year. So you really have time to try on different things, see what fits you best before you have to make that big decision. Now, the School of Engineering works similarly. We expect you know that you want to be some sort of engineer when you're applying to the School of Engineering, but we're going to help you figure out just what kind. So we have what is called a module curriculum. So you will choose 3 engineering disciplines of the 8 that we offer, and you'll explore each of those for 3 weeks at a time that first semester. So you'll get hands-on experience with each discipline. You will also learn about job opportunities should you choose to pursue that particular discipline as well. So say the first 3 weeks might be civil engineering, the next 3 weeks mechanical, and then the final 3 weeks might be biomedical. Now, hopefully at the end of that first year, one of those might speak more to your talents and interests than the others, and that's what you'll declare as your major moving forward. It's a little bit shorter of a timeline there than the College of Arts and Science, but still room to really explore and find what works best for you. Now, Peabody and Blair work a little bit differently because you're applying directly to your major. That's because some of these programs are a little more specific. So we're looking for more specific things in that application. So if you are interested in things like elementary education, secondary education, or special education, you will be applying into Peabody. Also, it houses things like childhood development, cognitive studies, or one of our most common majors on campus, human and organizational development. So you may have noticed we do not have a business school at the undergraduate level. That human and organizational development really kind of supplements for that. We often refer to it as the psychology of business. It teaches you things like how to think critically, problem solve, and work collaboratively within a business setting. We do also have a wonderful business minor that you can add to any sort of major you choose. Now, last but certainly not least is the Blair School of Music. It houses about 220 undergraduate students. It is strictly undergraduate. So that's great for our students because you're never competing with graduate students for rehearsal space, time, or spots in ensembles. Now, it is a conservatory style curriculum, but it's housed within a medium-sized institution. So you're getting larger school resources and amenities that you may not be getting at a conservatory. Now, anyone can take classes in Blair, and anybody can be involved in ensembles in Blair without having to major or minor. So if you're very passionate about an instrument and you want to continue that in college, you can absolutely do that at Vanderbilt without having to commit to a major or minor. Now, Vanderbilt students have a lot of interests, and we are not here to restrict any of those. So our students can take classes across all 4 schools. It is very commonplace to see a School of Engineering student taking classes in Peabody. And again, that's just because our students have a lot of interest, they love to learn, and we're not going to put any caps on that. Now, about 40% of our students will actually choose to double major. Now, if you're already considering doing that, do know you apply with one major. Once you get here, we'll help you add on an additional major. And you can also transfer across all 4 schools. And I always like to emphasize that because We know that at 17 or 18, you may have an idea of what you want to do, but maybe that changes, right? That's okay. We can transfer you across all 4 schools after that first year. The first year, you do have to stay in the school you were admitted to, but after that, we can easily move you wherever you need to be. Now, we are a Tier 1 research institution, so you will find that about 56% of our students are completing undergraduate research. Now, that can start as early as your freshman year. You will hear a lot about medical research as we do share campus with Vanderbilt Medical Center, but we have research across all disciplines at Vanderbilt, and that is thanks to our amazing faculty. So you really get to know your faculty at Vanderbilt. We have a 7-to-1 student to faculty ratio. That means 93% of your classes have fewer than 50 students and 80% have fewer than 30. So you're really developing both professional and personal relationships with your professors. So it is no surprise that during a one-off conversation, you may be chatting and realize that they're doing some research that's really exciting to you, that really aligns with your interests and passions. You can just ask them to jump on board and they will be happy to have you. But we have research opportunities across all disciplines. You can do research outside of your major as well. So do know there are plenty of opportunities to get involved in research at Vanderbilt. But everyone has some sort of experiential learning requirement to graduate from Vanderbilt, and that is called Immersion Vanderbilt. So this was just designed a few years ago, really out of a need to better support our students. So you can choose between research, internship, study abroad, civic engagement, or creative expression. And like I said, our students were already doing these really great things, but we wanted to better support them in those endeavors. So by the creation of Immersion, you are going to have full-time staff. They're going to help you find projects, get you connected to those projects, make sure that you're getting connected to the appropriate resources, and make sure that you're abiding by deadlines and executing that project appropriately. There's also a little bit of funding available. Maybe you want to do your own research and you're in need of a small grant. We can help you out with that. Also, this is going on your transcript. So you have something really tangible to put on your resume. So that 4th year when you're applying to professional programs, grad school, or jobs, you already have that real world experience before you've ever left campus. So that makes our students much more competitive in those applicant pools. But a lot of this is made possible because of our wonderful location. So we are located in Nashville, Tennessee. We are one of the fastest growing cities in the country. So that provides a lot of opportunity for our students. And again, that is personal and professional opportunity. Professionally, we have all kinds of research and internship opportunities as well as ways to serve our local community. And that is because we have Fortune 500 companies, major corporations. Our largest employer is healthcare. And of course, we are known for music production as we are Music City, USA. Now, between Immersion, our Career Center, and our wonderful alumni network, you are able to have a lot of support in place to get you connected to those opportunities off campus as well. Now, not only are they plentiful, they're easily accessible for our students. You may be able to tell by this photo, we are only 1.5 miles from downtown Nashville. So a lot of these opportunities are within just a few minutes of a car ride or a bus ride, which we do take for free across the city of Nashville with our Commodore card. Some students can even walk or take those electric scooters, which is the favorite mode of transportation around here, to any of those opportunities. So it's really nice because our students never have to travel far to engage with the community. Now, it's also a fun place to be, and that is because we are Music City. So there are 20,000 live music events every single traditional year, only 1/3 of which are country music, which I always like to emphasize because I myself am not a big country music fan. So no worries, there are 2/3 for the rest of us. Now, anything with a major tour will make a stop in Nashville. So that's podcasts, Broadway shows, book tours, all of that will stop in Nashville. We also are home to professional sports. So we have soccer, football, and hockey. And then we also have minor league baseball as well. Now on campus, we do have 16 varsity athletic teams. We are D1, we're members of the SEC, and those 16 varsity athletic teams have free admission for our students. So if you are wanting to go see the current World Series champs, the Vandy boys, you can go see them for free, which is a joke because we won in 2019 and the 2020 series didn't get played, but we'll ride that wave until we can't anymore. We also have club level and intramural sports as well. So if you're wanting to be active on campus, do know that those opportunities are made available to you. Now, we also can't talk about Nashville without talking about food. We are a foodie city. Our local delicacy here is the hot chicken. So if you're very excited about exploring a city through your stomach, Nashville might be a great fit for you. We do include some extra cash on your meal plan called Taste of Nashville, which does allow you to dine off campus and check out some local eateries that way. But switching gears a little bit, this is our spirit of admissions. This is what we keep on our desks and we review every single year before we start the reading process. I always like to emphasize the second paragraph here. Every applicant is treated with dignity and respect. So that means that we're going to give you the same time and energy that you gave to that application, okay? We know you worked really hard on it. We're going to return that same respect to you. Now, in our process, every application is reviewed at least twice. And again, that's us doing our due diligence to make sure that we are looking at every part that you provided to us. Now, we also train our readers to find reasons to admit rather than deny. So we never go in with a big gotcha moment. We're really looking for the incredible, unique, fun things you're doing and really emphasizing those in the process so that anyone that reads behind us knows just what stellar students you are and what a great fit you would be for Vanderbilt. So what exactly are we looking for? Well, in that opening statement, when we talked about context-based holistic evaluation, this is exactly what we're talking about. Holistic, of course, means we look at every single part of the application. That is no different this year. Context, we've always reviewed you in the context of your own high school and personal circumstance. The larger context, of course, this year is COVID-19. So we know that some, if not all of these things may look very different this year, and that's okay. So when we're talking about academic achievement, we're really looking at your transcript. That is not a magic GPA. We're really concerned with rigor. So what was made available to you and what did you take advantage of within those offerings? Now, again, context. We're only looking at you in the context of your own high school. So do not stress that we're ever comparing school A to school B. I myself went to a teeny tiny school in a teeny tiny town and we had 2 AP courses. My application would be looked at differently than an application from a school with 32 APs, okay? So don't think you're immediately out because of what was offered to you. Now, we do know that these sorts of things might be different this year, right? Maybe you had to go to pass-fail grades in the spring. Maybe certain classes couldn't be offered this year. That is completely okay. We know transcripts might look a little bit different for a little while. Now, when we're talking about standardized test scores, traditionally we need ACT or SAT test scores. We have no preference. We do superscore both exams. So however many times you take the test, we'll take the highest subscore of each test to give you the highest possible composite. Now, we do not require any sort of secondary testing. So that's subject tests, AP or IB scores. If you're excited about those scores and you want to send them in, you think they'll enhance your application, go for it. But they are not required. Now, this is not a traditional year. So for the class of 2021, we are test optional. Now, I know you all hear that word a lot and somehow it means different things, different places. We are truly optional. So that means we do not need test scores for scholarship purposes. We also do not need any sort of supplemental information if you apply without a test score, okay? And this just goes back to that holistic piece. We read every single part of the application. This will just be one part that we don't read this year. Now, if you've already had test scores sent to us and you're stressing that we already have scores, no worries. So long as you select test optional on your application, we are not going to do any work on the back end and try and prove you otherwise, okay? So test optional is truly optional. Now, we do need 3 letters of recommendation. 1 is going to come from your school counselor. 2 come from core area subject teachers. That's math, science, English, history, and foreign language. We love to see letters from teachers in fields similar to which you plan to study. So for instance, if you're applying as a STEM student, we hope to see letters of recommendation come from STEM area teachers. Now, that's not to say that you can't submit additional letters of recommendation. We do accept additional letters. So if you have another teacher, a coach, community leader, employer, anything like that, they can absolutely send those letters on. Now, as far as the personal essay goes, you all put way too much pressure on yourselves here. We really just want to learn more about you, right? This is the most humanizing part of the process, but you get to choose what you share with us. So some students do choose something deeply personal. It's revealing of their identity. That's great. Others might choose something really light and funny that showcases personality. And yet another might choose something, choose to write about something that they're really passionate about. All of those are great. We truly just want to have a better understanding of who you are as a person. And as long as we can read it, and it sounds different than the essay we read in the application before you, that's all that's important, okay? As long as you're excited to write it, we'll be excited to read it. Now, as far as extracurriculars go, here we always talk about the 2 L's, longevity and leadership. So what were you involved in for the longest period of time, and where did you make the greatest impact? Now, I always like to emphasize that you can lead without a title. So just because you're not president or vice president doesn't mean that you didn't make an impact. So utilize that time on your activities list to give us a sentence or two about what you did within each organization. Now, this is also something that might look different this year, right? Maybe you couldn't be captain of that team or president of that club, but you did teach yourself how to play guitar, or you took care of siblings, or you worked part-time. All of that is completely appropriate to include on your activities list this year, all right? But I can't stress enough, mental health is important too. So it's okay if you didn't do anything additional during this time. Do know that there is a COVID-19 section on the Common application and the Coalition application. So if you need that space to speak more about how this has affected you, please feel free to utilize that. No pressure, it is completely optional, but if you need that space, it is there. Now, I mentioned that we are socioeconomically diverse, and that is thanks to Opportunity Vanderbilt. It makes 3 promises to our students. Number 1, we are need blind for all U.S. citizens and permanent residents. That means we read your application with no regard as to how much you can afford to attend Vanderbilt. We actually, do not see any sort of financial documents in the reading process. Now, promise number 2 is that we meet 100% of demonstrated financial need. Now, that need is determined through the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. You may be familiar with that. But then we also need what is called the CSS profile. Now, that is through the College Board. There is a fee associated with that. I just always like to make sure that you have a heads up on that. Now, the third promise is that we do all this without student loans. So when you get your financial aid package, you will find things like scholarship money and grant money. That's gift aid. You never pay that back. You may also find what is called federal work study. So that is a federally funded program, helps you get connected to an on-campus job, and it kind of works as an additional income that way. Now, there are no income bands or income cutoffs, so all students are eligible for Opportunity Vanderbilt. Just be sure that you're getting both documents to us by those deadlines. Now, if you're interested in applying for a merit scholarship, we do have 3 signature merit scholarships. It is a separate scholarship application. So do know you have to apply to the university first to get that scholarship application. So I always want to emphasize, if you're applying early decision 2 or regular decision, you will want to submit your application by middle of November so that you have time to get that submitted, get your scholarship application sent to you, worked on, and returned to us by December 1st. All right, I know that can be a little bit confusing, but I never want you to miss out on any sort of money. Now, our last slide here just tells you a little bit about our virtual tour. We know that you can't be with us on campus right now. Honestly, our entire office is on campus right now. So we have a virtual tour on our website. This one is the one built into our website that you can take at any time you wish. But our tour guides who have missed you so much are doing some really fun things. And they are now doing live tours of campus, both a general campus tour and tours of all the academic buildings. So they're carrying around iPads, and it's a great way to get to see the campus and connect with them that way. So if you're interested in meeting a current Vanderbilt student and kind of seeing more of Vanderbilt, I suggest you check out a virtual tour. But with that, I'm going to open the floor for any sort of questions we have. Any questions? All right, great. Well, unfortunately, I do not have a contact slide, but if you ever need to get in touch, I again cover Central and Southern Ohio. So my email address is just Laura, LAURA.McCann, MCCANN @vanderbilt.edu. If you are in Northern Ohio, you will reach out to Maria, and that is Maria, MARIA.Ornelas, ORNELAS @vanderbilt.edu. And we will both be more than happy to work with you through the admissions process. But with that, I will ask our facilitator to come back and round us out for the morning.
All right, wonderful. Great job. I actually learned a lot. I didn't know very much about Vanderbilt before, so I'm glad I was attending today. All right, I'm going to go ahead and reshare my screen here. Maybe if there it goes. Okay, perfect. So a few housekeeping things for the end of the presentation. First of all, thanks so much for joining us. I know I really enjoyed learning more about Vanderbilt, so I hope that you did as well. When you close the window today, you'll be prompted to fill out just a really quick survey. It's just 4 questions. You can do it very fast. And we really appreciate any feedback that you can give to us and provide us so we can make these events better for y'all. And then again, this is just one of the sessions that is being offered for Ohio students to learn more about different colleges and different areas of the college exploration process. So please sign up for additional sessions if you can. You can do that at oacac.org. And then again, all of the sessions are going to be recorded. So in about a week, you'll be able to find this particular session. You'll be able to find that recording online as well at oacac.org. And that's all we have for you. So enjoy your morning. Happy Tuesday and have a great week. Thanks, y'all.